Hello everyone and welcome back to another travel journal video. For today's video we're going to be continuing on day 2 of my holiday in Croatia. This day we went to visit the city called Dubrovnik and we're going to be working on the next 5 pictures of that day. I already distressed the pictures, and if you don't know how to do it, stay tuned because I'm going to distress the postcard that you see the same exact way. I'm first going to see if I know what kind of layout I want, and I do decide that I want that postcard as a flip open or a flip out. So the only thing that I need to do is cut it a bit more to size because it's just a tiny bit too big. So I'm going to cut off just a smidgen on all 4 of the sides with my cutting machine. And then I want to distress this postcard heavily. So I'm going over with my distress tool and really rip up the edges. I'm going to use my sanding tool to take off most of the particles, and then I'm going to use my gesso, my clear gesso, to make the postcard matte. And this is also the exact same thing that I'm doing to my pictures. As you can see, the postcard is nice and matte right now. I'm going to use some vintage photo and some water and then put the postcard through the mixture. And I'm going to use my heat gun to dry it. I'm also going to soak up a bit of the ink here and there. And then there's a lot of ink left and I don't like to waste that. So I grab a tag and just get it through the vintage photo. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but then with the ground espresso. And after that I'm going to do some normal inking around the edges. And I'm using the same 2 inks. And I really like how distressed the postcard looks. I then want to turn it into a journal card, but I don't really like the back. So I decide to put a piece of scrapbook paper on. I'm going to distress the edges heavily because I don't really want to see any white. And I'm also going to distress the piece of scrapbook paper and ink it and then glue it on top. I then did some stamping on top of the card, and I'm also going to do some stamping on the other side. I then decided I only want to use the only amusement part of this stamp, so I'm going to take a wipe and take some of the ink off. And then I'm going to use the Guarantee to be strictly high grade because I thought it fitted, because then you get Guaranteed to be strictly high grade amusement only. And that was sort of like visiting the city was highly amusement. I don't know, you know what I mean? Maybe I just, yeah, for me it sort of fitted in my head. I'm then going to attach the postcard to the previous page with some of my homemade vintage tape. And I then want to put in 2 eyelets. For some reason something went wrong and my eyelet got stuck in my, how do you call the thing again? Crocodile. So I ripped the postcard a bit. Luckily my crocodile is still working, it's not broken. I don't know what happened, but it got stuck. So yeah, the card is a bit ripped, but I don't mind. It adds to the distressing, I guess. I then decide that I don't like the position of the card. I want to flip it around. So I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to take the tape off very carefully. And then I'm going to attach it once again, but then the other way around. And for some reason it was a bit too big again, so I decided to just cut off a tiny piece, and I'm also going to distress that edge. I then took these 2 parking tickets that we got from that day, and I'm going to cut up a few pieces that I want to use, and I'm also going to distress those. I'm not throwing away these pieces because I'm going to use some more of it on the next page. I do decide to round the corners because the top part was also rounded. So yeah, this way it looks a bit more cohesive. I'm going to put some ink on top of it and around the corners or borders. And then I'm also going to use some water and dab it off to create these stipples, or I don't know how you call it, but you will see it in a second. I will show you, I think. Yeah. I don't know if you could see it, but it gave a really nice effect. And then I'm going to glue everything down on the picture. I do decide to tear off the corner because, as you can see, I stamped the 4th of April, which is the date of that day, and you didn't really see that anymore with the picture on top, so I decided to just rip off the corner. Doesn't matter because it adds to the whole distressed effect. I did some sewing and then I'm going to glue it down. I'm then going to look through my tin with some well, it has miscellaneous things, to be honest, but I'm going to look for some stuff that I want to use. I have there's junk in there, like bits and pieces left over from other projects, but I also put in things that I think I might be able to use in projects that I'm working on. And I've got these word strips from a swap, and it had a few that were like travel themed, so I'm going to use those. I'm going to use one more of them later on the other page, but for this one I chose Go, See and Explore. And this picture was really fun. I don't know if you can really see, but it was a really weird landscaping. And we took a break there from driving because it was a 3-hour drive to Dubrovnik, and we also had to drive 3 hours back. So we took a short break so that my boyfriend could smoke. And that was this place. And yeah, we stayed a while to enjoy the view as well. I like that ticket of, I think it's a Tracy Fox one, but I'm looking for something else that I could use. And then I remembered I had these traveler themed Minte Papers die cut set. And I decided to use this car because we went by car as well, so it fits. I'm going to distress the edges a bit, or ink them, I mean. And then I'm going to glue it down. You don't really see a lot of the label anymore, but I don't mind, to be honest. That sometimes happens. And then I want to do some more stamping, and I'm going to add the 3 stars underneath the date, I believe. Yes, yeah. Now this was supposed to be a journal card, but because I decided to flip it around, it's not a journal card anymore. But I'm going to be creating another journal card on this side of the page. I have this cutlery set bag, and this was, let me think, I saved it from the cutlery that I've gotten on the airport on the way back home, because I had a pasta salad and it came with this the cutlery, but I decided to save the bag. It is a bit too small for my liking, so I'm going to open it up. Going to line it up so it makes it a tiny bit bigger. And I also tore out a notch, and I just tore it. I didn't use a punch or anything. And then I'm going to distress this a bit as well. I'm also going to just crumple it up a bit, and then I'm going to glue it down. And then I'm going to use a bit more pieces of the parking tickets, and I'm also going to distress those the same way I did on the other side. I'm then going to see how I want to position the pictures, and once I'm happy, I'm going to stick them together and do a bit of sewing. I am gluing down together 2 tickets of 49 Market, and then I'm going to just make a tiny cluster with them. And then I decide to add a bit more texture by using some mulberry paper. And then I noticed all the mess I made on the other side, but it's fine, we're going to cover it up anyway. And here's the other strip that I was talking about. And then I'm going to do a bit more stamping. I was a bit off camera there, I'm sorry. Well, not off camera, out of frame, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm then going to work on the journal card. I'm going to keep it very simple. I just took a piece of Tim Holtz scrapbook paper and I'm going to cut it to size and then turn it into a tag, and that's all I do. I don't decorate anything because the paper is already, well, there's things happening enough on the paper, and I want to leave as much room to write as possible on both sides. I am going to put on 2 hole reinforcers, and then I'm going to add some twine. But before I do, I decide to crumble up the top of the notch a bit and glue that down. I'm going to use some white twine, but in my opinion this doesn't really fit. It's too white, so I'm going to just stress it with the daubers of my ink. I'm just going to make it dirty, basically. And now I'm going to work on the other side, and we were on this square with the top picture. On the opposite side of the building there was a shop where we got a t-shirt from Game of Thrones for my boyfriend, and this is the tag from that t-shirt. And I've taken off the price and the barcode, and I'm going to just stress that this tag is made of cardboard, so it has layers, and I'm going to peel off the back layer because I want to use the front layer a little bit later in the journal. So I'm going to rip off the back and then only use the logo. I don't have a picture from the t-shirt that he got, but obviously I will remember that, so I do want to use the elements from the t-shirt. And in Dubrovnik, they filmed the part in the series where they done the Walk of Shame. So that's why I also used my letterpress thing. And I typed out the words Walk of Shame. And I'm going to attach it on some Tim Holtz craft cardstock that you can sand down. At first I wanted to glue it down on the bottom, but then last minute I decided to not do that because I want to add some more text, and that's actually the quote that was on the t-shirt. The t-shirt said, "I drink and I know things," and this was a quote from Tyrion Lannister. Then I did some sewing to attach everything together, and I'm going to use some more pieces of the parking tickets, as well as a piece of suitcase stickers, the barcodes. And I'm going to distress the tickets the same way as I did on the previous pages. What also was funny, you can probably see the Christmas picture, and this was a Christmas shop that is open all year, and it was really funny to me that the Santa Claus in the opening of the shop had a chalkboard, and it says how many days it was left until Christmas. I thought that was really funny, so I had to take a picture of that shop. I then want to add some leftover pieces from the bag that I used to put in the journal card. And I'm going to crumble those up and use some ink as well. And then I'm going to look for some final touches, and I want to use a bit more mulberry paper to tie it in with the page next to it. And we're also nearing the end of the video now. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this part 5 of the travel journal. Also, do you like me to tell a bit of the stories of the holiday like I did in this video? I don't think I've done that before. So yeah, let me know if you would like to hear a bit more of the holiday while I'm working on the pictures, you know, tell the stories that go with it. I think that's all. So enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!